I can remember in high school teachers saying to you that you're going to learn everything I know about this before you leave my class. And because these teachers were also from the community, they could whoop you. They could do anything your parents did. You could expect the same treatment that you would get at home.
Even with these efforts, Southern Black communities felt they were facing terrible limitations in their ability to educate their children. Black schools and white schools were separate and supposed to be equal, but everyone knew they were not.
I'm going to tell you, reading the white folks don't tell us to go to school and see to us going to school. If you learn yourself some sense, you're going to be just a little notch ahead of them. If you have to lick dirt for your children, watch, anybody can be nobody.
Look at the evidence. When we refused access to hotels, we built our own hotels, financed by our own means. The Wallahaji in Atlanta, the Carver and Calvert Hotel in Florida, the St. Charles in Chicago, the St. Teresa in New York. I could go on and on. When we were denied access to colleges, we built our own. And in fact, our small business formation rate was higher than whites in the 20s, and that really determines any group's participation in the economy. It is not what government does for you or what white people do. In fact, I think those who continue to push this race agenda are Eurocentric. They assume that the destiny of blacks is determined by what white people do. That has never been the case. We closed the education gap in the South between 1920 and 19...
There's another example of what he's talking about. Is because they wouldn't let us come to their space, we built our own. And I think when we start being able to go to their spaces, we neglect our own. We can't keep a grocery store.
But that is not because that's not the even though the law changed, our values did not have to change. And what I'm telling you is this: he's making the argument that it is Eurocentric to think that integration was necessary. Integration was necessary because integration with segregation came the laws that in the color of the law, it says that we were inherently inferior.
Right, I understand. Segregation and integration are not the opposites.
Yeah, and so what I would say is this: who is stopping us from investing in our own communities now?
And you asked that question, and here's the question is because the values that some of the same things people wouldn't build. When we started trying to do development, people looked at, if I build on that land, even though it's the same thing and it's no different from that land right on the west side, then in fact it's bigger than the land on the west side, then I will have less value because it's located in the area that you have redlined. That is what it's telling us.
Yeah, but that's the color of law that did the redlining, and so that was the effects of segregation. That was the lasting effect. That was the effects of segregation, and so that's why segregation had to go. Okay, when we look at this, but I'm looking at our value. So what do we value? Do we value? So I would let me put it in terms like this. All right, I sent my kids to a predominantly white school. And considered one of the best schools. That is the number one school in this area, probably one of the best schools in America. Okay, I know certain things that the type of education that they got. I think that's important, and it was important for my kids to get the best education that I could provide for them, and that's how a parent should be looking at life, in my opinion, when it comes to educating their kids. Now, I would have kept them in the community school because they had started a charter school that was college based, but it got taken away. So I was gonna have them walk right up the street because it was gonna be a good education for them. So regardless of, because I really didn't want to put them in a private school and have to pay for it, but I did. But I think that's important because that moves us as a people forward.
But it doesn't.
It
moves them as people forward.